Alright, so I've made it to McAfee Knob, and the rest of my hike is going to take me down across that ridge, and then right in front of us is Tinker Cliffs. On the other side of that, I'm going to stay at one of the AT shelters. In this area, you have to stay in the shelters. Across the valley, and then over there is North Mountain. I'll follow that ridge all the way across, and then back down the other side. And over to Dragon's Tooth. So, cross this valley twice. A really nice hike. Alright, so I'm trying out my new stick pick and doing a little selfie video. Just left McAfee Knob, and there's quite a few people up there, which I expected given how full the parking lot was. I got the last parking spot and saw a lot of people coming down off the mountain. Would have liked to spend a little more time up there, but I didn't really feel like being around all the people, so kept on going. And then I'm gonna head out to Lambert's Meadow shelter, which I actually stayed at 5 years ago when I thru hiked the AT. Between here and there is Tinker Cliffs, which I will be hiking across the top of this time. When I did the AT, we lost the trail a little bit and ended up hiking along the bottom. So that'll be a nice hike. It's pretty rocky over here, so I'm gonna go ahead and shut the video off and so I don't trip. Well, I made it to Tinker Cliffs, and that's the valley below. And so the cliffs are kind of like this. Do a 360 here. I came from over there, McAfee Knob. Not exactly sure where it is over there, but somewhere. And did a lot of up and down along those ridges. I am exhausted. Got about another 1.5 miles to go to the shelter. So this is what we're walking along on Tinker Cliffs here. See, the trail definitely just skirts the edge. Gorgeous views out that way. That's what I'll be hiking tomorrow, that ridge right there. Well, Happy New Year. This was home for the night. Got in a little late last night to do a video of setting up camp, how it looked, but Lambert's Meadow Shelter. Doesn't look like much of a meadow, but great water source and nice shelter. And now I've got another about 1/2 mile uphill back to Yellow Blaze. Well, I've left the AT and I'm now hiking on the Yellow Blazed Andy Lane Trail, and I'll take that across the valley that we looked at yesterday over to North Mountain. Jump on the North Mountain Trail and hike down to Dragon's Tooth. Not sure where I'm going to camp tonight. Probably somewhere on North Mountain before I cross the road on the Dragon's Tooth while I'm still in the National Forest. This section of trail is very reminiscent of Georgia. It's probably just the time of year that I'm hiking it. So I hiked through Georgia. There weren't a lot of leaves on the trees, as there isn't here on January 1st. So, Happy New Year. And let's see, there's not a whole lot of views that I could give you because there's so many trees. That's why it's just a whole lot of me. So if you don't like looking at me, this probably isn't the video for you. So coming down this trail today was pretty muddy. It's rained the past few days, which has made the trail muddy, but it's also provided a lot of water sources, or made a lot of the questionable water sources good water sources. This one right here will be my last water pretty much through the entire trip. So I've got the rest of today and tomorrow, so about 20 more miles without water, which is one of the reasons why I picked this loop as a prep hike for the TCT this summer, is because of the fact that I'd have to carry a lot of water, and because there's about 9,000 feet of elevation gain throughout the whole loop. A lot of up and down, a lot of hiking up one mountain and then down the other side to go back up another. So I'm about to start crossing some cow pastures, which I should make the correction. There is one more water source, but it's right through the middle of the cow pasture. So I'm not gonna get water out of that. Hard to tell what's mud and what's not. Warning, electric fence. Awesome. Really nice day out. Just cool enough to make it comfortable to hike in. Not too hot, not sweating like I was yesterday. One thing about hiking through cow pastures is the cows always seem to know exactly where the trail is when they have to go to the bathroom. Nice little bridge. Glad I found the right path. Not glad to see that. This weekend is kicking my butt. So I had read that Catawba Creek was the last water source for this, but just got on the Catawba Valley Trail and looks like I'll be following this creek right here up to the top. It's full of these waterfalls. They're great. So I made it to the top of North Mountain, at least the ridge. I'm not exactly sure where the actual summit is. It's a lot of up and down on the ridge. Stopping for some lunch. It's about 12:15 before I continue on down the mountain. There's I don't know quite what the mileage is here, but there's 3 trails that run down to my right as I'm hiking, kind of southwest on the ridge. So probably camp somewhere after the 3rd trail before it hits down to the road with the trail to Dragon's Tooth. Some pretty good views up here. You can definitely see why it's called the Blue Ridge out here. I'll do a 360 in a minute, but it's a nice day. It's quiet. This trail's not nearly as muddy as the Andy Lane Trail, which was nice. Definitely just as steep though. So anyway, here's what I'm looking at. So that's the trail I just came up, and that's the continue on the North Mountain Trail that way. I'll be heading this way on it, and then back here. So over that way, that peak you can see through the trees there. Not the pointy one, but the one next to it. It's got the tree in the way, right there. On the other side of that, that's where Tinker Cliffs is. And looking across this way would be where McAfee Knob sticks out. You can't see it from here though. I think we're a little too far away to see the ledges. So hiking up on North Mountain, just past the intersection with the Turkey Trail. Next will be the Grouse Trail in 2.9 miles. A lot of up and down, very steep. They didn't really put in switchbacks up here, so all the little peaks along this ridge, you just hike straight up them, and definitely hike the crest of the ridge, which is nice. I just passed another group of backpackers who were taking their lunch break. Had a nice fire going right on a rock ledge. Nice fire. Bad spot to have it. But anyway, you can see it's kind of steep. It's that side. That's down that side. So definitely, you know, not quite a knife edge, but wouldn't want to slip and take a tumble down either side. Well, I've come down off of North Mountain, and thankfully got into some downhill. I'm going to cross some more cow pastures up here in a little bit, get back to Virginia 311, where I'll then hike over to Dragon's Tooth probably tomorrow. Thankful to be out of the wind. It was pretty windy up there. You can tell the temperature has dropped a bit, and it's getting a little chilly. So definitely be sleeping with all my warm clothes on tonight. But so far the trail's been pretty good on this part. Not as muddy as earlier this morning, and not as rocky as it was up on top, so pretty nice walking. But, we'll see you again either when I make camp or when I get to Dragon's Tooth. So hiking up here the past mile, I didn't really know what the heck was going on. I'm sure you can hear the barking. Figured either someone set up a kennel on the AT or I'd get attacked by a pack of wild dogs when I got up to Dragon's Tooth. But apparently there's some hunters up here hunting with dogs, and they've got a bear treed. So I guess as soon as the hunters get up there, or all the hikers leave, they will be dispatching that bear to its maker. Regardless of how you feel about it, it's one less bear to bother hikers this summer. Well, I made it to Dragon's Tooth. That was the longest 7/10 of a mile I've ever hiked. And not just long, but very rocky and tough going. So it's probably going to take me just as long to get back, which is a little unfortunate. I'm going to get up to the top of there, get some photos, and maybe catch the sunset, but gotta get going because I haven't set up camp yet. Well, I made it back home, and first thing I want to do is clarify a comment about one less bear to bother hikers. The entire hike that I did, every shelter, every trailhead I passed, there were signs about problem bears that apparently had been in the area this summer. I think that they were July, August time frame. They were still up. And while I know that problem bears are always the result of human action, they typically do need to be trapped and relocated, and then they return and they're eventually killed. So anyone who knows me realizes that I would never just callously say, oh, one less bear. But if this was a problem bear, then that is what eventually would happen to it. As it turned out, hiked up Dragon's Tooth and met up with some Forest Service rangers that were up there hiking back towards the dogs that had treed the bear, and apparently it was a bear cub, not an adult bear. So they collected the dogs. The hunters were, who knows where the hunters were, but the dogs were there for a couple hours barking at this bear cub that they had treed, while Mama Bear was most likely someplace close by, not too happy. That was right where I was supposed to be camping for the night. There's a campsite right there as the Dragon's Tooth Trail merges with the Appalachian Trail, and the dogs were just a little ways away from that. So I decided, for my own best interest, it would be best not to camp by myself very close to where a mama bear and bear cub were not too happy. So I ended up getting a ride from the Dragon's Tooth Trailhead back up to the McAfee Knob Trailhead and just headed home. So I didn't get a chance to show my campsite or anything like that, but got a good trip, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. Next one will hopefully be a little bit more scenic. Definitely the ones on the Pacific Crest Trail will be scenic. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks.